Appreciate it, Noah. Thank you for your super chat. And it was great to see you in Boston. You're a good guy. I can't wait to see you in DC. All right. Your thoughts on war in the South China Sea. Look, the issue in the South China Sea is that China has, at this point, the world's largest industrial production apparatus. However, in order to run it, they need oil. And they can get a lot of oil from Russia, and they can get oil from different places, but a lot of that oil comes on oil tankers in the South China Sea. The USA wants to have the oil veto over China's economy. They want to, at some point, if the USA is mad at China, to be able to erect a naval blockade and cut off the oil supply to China, which would lead to like the lights going out and China, big sections of China not having electricity, and China's economy would come to a grinding halt if the oil tankers in the South China Sea stopped. The U.S. government knows that. And so they have increasingly put the U.S. military in the South China Sea, basically saying to China, if you do something wrong, we will erect a naval blockade and no oil tankers get through and your economy freezes. And China is saying, no way in hell are we going to let you threaten that. So they are increasingly putting their military in the South China Sea, saying, hey, America, if you try to block oil tankers from coming into China, we'll bust a cap in your ass. We'll blow you away, motherfucker. So don't even try. I'm using colorful language. But basically China heavily militarizes the South China Sea to make sure those oil tankers keep coming. The United States increasingly militarizes the South China Sea because they want to be able to threaten China and say they don't do it. Now, who's caught in the middle? Well, there's an island that Vietnam says belongs to Vietnam and China says belongs to China. And I think the Philippines also claims that island. It's contested. Taiwan technically is part of China, but it has a separate government. The island of Taiwan is called the Republic of China, but it has the old, Chiang Kai-shek government. It doesn't recognize the government on the mainland. And the South China Sea, there's competing interests, right? The Philippines has fishing rights, right? They do the fishing, right? And they make a lot of money by pulling fish out of the South China Sea. And with China putting all their military in the water, that often makes it a little uncomfortable for Filipino fishers, because they're fishing and then there's a big Chinese military ship and that causes them some problems. And Vietnam, they want the island and there's issues there. But ultimately, it's about China making sure those oil tankers can keep coming and the USA trying to threaten and wanting to have the ability to cut off China's oil supply. That's the issue in the South China Sea. That's really all there is to it.